What's up guys, Starlink here. So after hearing of Hollow Knight Silksong's announcement, I decided to go back to the original Hollow Knight and to see just why this game is such a highly regarded title amongst fellow Metroidvania fans. So sit back, kick your feet up, grab a drink, and join me as I take a look back at Hollow Knight and just to see why it is such a great game. Let's take a look. Alright, let's kick things off with the story, shall we? Now usually you don't play a Metroidvania game for the story. It's mostly the gameplay itself that keeps you coming back, right? Now while the gameplay in Hollow Knight will most certainly have you craving for more, the story that surrounds the world of Hollow Knight itself is interesting in its own right. The game starts out with you as a wandering knight who stumbles upon the quiet little town of Dirtmouth, and beneath it lie the caverns of hollowness that you're free to explore and discover its secrets. There seems to be some mysterious corruption that's going on with the bugs below the surface, and you're left to discover the cause. That's pretty much it really, without spoiling up the game too much for you guys. You're left with many questions more than answers when you first set out on your journey. You discover bits and pieces of the story as you progress, but a lot of it is entirely optional. The game does not hold your hand when it comes to telling you its tale. You'll get the basic rundown of things as you progress, sure, but it expects you to discover the finer details on your own by talking to the local bugs and investigating your surroundings thoroughly. Every little detail in the environments is rich with lore about the history of this ruined kingdom of hollowness. You just have to find it. That's what makes Hollow Knight flow so well, actually. It sets you free to play how you want and rewards you for exploring every nook and cranny. That's how a Metroidvania should be. The sense of mystery that encompasses this beautifully connected world is truly fascinating indeed, and will keep you coming back to discover more. And you might just miss out on most of it if you don't bother to inspect every object or talk to every character you come across in the game. Take your time with this one and you will be rewarded with a very intriguing tale, I assure you. Okay, I'm gonna level with you guys. The opening hours can be kinda rough in Hollow Knight, as you start with nothing but the nail on your back. You may die a few times learning the ins and outs of combat, but stick with it and you'll eventually get into the swing of things. After a few hours or more, the game will truly open up to you as you gain more abilities and start exploring this vast interconnected world. As with many Metroidvania titles, it's the exploration and discovery that will hook you, and Hollow Knight is chock full of secrets to unearth. Just give it a little time. Moving along to what I consider one of the most rewarding aspects of the game, the combat. Again, things will start out slow at first, with combat being quite challenging at times until you start gaining new abilities and charms to help you even the playing field. You'll die plenty of times, especially when it comes to this game's many boss fights. The challenges are great, but not impossible to overcome, and no matter how many times you may fail, you'll always be coming back for more punishment until you learn the tricks to succeed. And when you finally overcome a particularly challenging boss fight, it's a very rewarding feeling. Every enemy gives you a clear sign of their next attack, and it's up to you to decipher this pattern and overcome them. Any mistake you make will cost you dearly, but with enough trial and error, you will prevail. There are an assortment of upgrades to collect to help you as you progress through Hollow Knight's more difficult challenges. You'll come across your staples like your double jump and dashing abilities, along with an assortment of health and soul upgrades to collect as well, with soul acting as this game's mana pool. Probably one of the most crucial abilities that you have at the very beginning of the game is being able to self-heal, and you'll be using it a lot throughout your journey, even in the middle of boss fights at times. I find the best opportunity to heal during a boss fight is when they are stunned. Just getting in 1 or 2 heals in a hard boss fight could mean the difference between life and death. Another very important feature in this game are the charms. Not only will they give you an edge in combat, but some are needed to make exploring the world of Hollow Knight much more manageable. Some will give you a handy familiar by your side, while others will give you something as simple as a marker on the map to indicate where you are. Equipping charms requires notches, and like charms themselves, they can be found hidden away or purchased at shops for Geo, this game's currency. Depending on the power of the charm, the more notches it will take, so it can be as little as 1 up to as high as 5 notches per charm. And with only a limited number of slots to use, up to a max of 11 near the end of the game, you'll have to consider what combinations of charms you want to use and when. Some charms will come in handy for boss fights, while others will be better suited for exploration. For example, it's next to useless at having the Wayward Compass equipped during a boss fight. That slot could be better used for something else. As you are traversing the field, however, the wayward compass is an invaluable tool in charting your progress without getting lost, as it shows your position on the map. There are also some secret combinations as well that give certain charms an even greater boost than normal. For example, combining the Sprint Master and Dash Master charms will increase your movement speed even more across the map than just using Sprint Master by itself. I should also mention that you can only equip charms on a bench, which are strewn throughout the game and also serve as save points. Another important feature of the bench is that it will fill out any areas of the map that you've explored up to that point. Only after you've purchased the map from Cornifer in each area first, of course. The map will not fill itself out as you enter a room. You have to stop at a bench to do so, and you'll be using them frequently on your journey, switching out charms and charting progress made, so it's best to seek them out as soon as possible. It also helps that you can buy pins in the local shop in Dirtmouth to mark important locations on your map, which can come in handy. The only real gripe I had is with some charms like the Wayward Compass and Sprint Master. Wayward Compass is important to have on when you're navigating areas, while Sprint Master helps aid in your movement speed. Both come in handy when exploring the map. I just think these charms might have been better served as ability upgrades versus charms themselves, or even as a toggle switch in the options menu, but that's just my 2 cents. Charms overall are an interesting approach to strategy in Hollow Knight, and you're encouraged to experiment with certain combinations to see what works best for you. I like to use what the Steam community calls the Paladin build for boss fights. It's a combination of Quick Slash, Mark of Pride, Quick Focus, and Soul Catcher, with Quick Focus sometimes being swapped out for Unbreakable Strength. I find that works out pretty well for me in the more grueling boss fights. In a game where every action you make is a crucial difference between life and death, it helps to have quality controls to help back it up, and Hollow Knight gets the job done really well. I played through the game on the Switch with a decent chunk of time in both handheld mode as well as docked with the Pro Controller. Everything felt nice and responsive with no problems pulling off any tricky maneuvers. It did take me a bit of time to get used to the double jump ability though, as the action felt just a little bit delayed compared to most games. I adjusted to it just fine with time, however. Navigating any tricky platform segments and dodging enemy attacks will soon become a breeze, to the point where any mistake that you make feels like it's your own and not the game, which is as it should be. Alright, so I feel like I should lightly touch on the bestiary here, as Hollow Knight does in fact have one. Funny story, I actually didn't find the guy that gives you the bestiary until very late into the game. I just casually passed him by apparently. In my defense, I did play the game completely blind without using any guide until very late into the game when I was trying to tie up any loose ends. Useful tip, you can find the hunter who hands you the bestiary journal pretty early on in the game in the green path area. Anyways, moving on, the bestiary serves as a more of an extra achievement list than anything else. Kill an enemy once and it'll be added to your journal. Kill that same enemy a certain number of times and you'll get a little bit of extra flavored text added to the description by the hunter himself. It can be fun to hunt down the enemies to add them to your journal, but you won't get anything really special for doing it, other than earning an achievement for filling out the entire journal anyway, which can be quite the challenge to accomplish by the end of the game. It's fine as is really, though I kinda wish it had an easier list to navigate through. I mean, all you can really do is scroll up and down, which takes a bit of time when you're looking for a certain enemy or boss, but I digress. Moving on, the art design in Hollow Knight is fantastic. It has that dark and gloomy feel with everything around it that really fits the game well. The many characters you meet in Hollow Nest are interesting in design, along with the environments themselves. Not one area looks alike and is totally unique. No repeated rooms here to be found, folks. Everything is where it should be thanks to no procedurally generated areas. Enemy designs are equally impressive and diverse, with some truly creepy looking creatures you'll encounter. Good stuff for sure. Exploring every inch of this world is truly a breathtaking sight to behold and really helps immerse you in the game world that much more. Everything in Hollow Knight just oozes with detail and charm. Who would have thought that a world full of bugs could look so damn good? Not me, that's for sure. Now onto one of the most defining aspects of the game for me, the music. Great music in a game may not be as big a deal for some people. For me, however, a good story coupled with a beautiful musical score go hand in hand in what truly makes a game great. And that's exactly what Hollow Knight brings to the table here. As soon as you enter the town of Dirtmouth, you will hear an almost sad, yet depressing tone in the music that plays, which fits the scene perfectly. The same thing can be said about the entire game, honestly. From the haunting mystery of Resting Grounds to the lush forest environments of Green Path. Each track fits the theme of the area perfectly and really sets the mood. The music will dynamically change as you progress within each area as well, which all flows together naturally. This is one of those games that after hearing the first few tracks, you will immediately jump on the opportunity to pick up the entire soundtrack, and that's exactly what I did. Seriously, I don't think I can find a single music track on this list that doesn't hit the mark. Christopher Larkin did a great job composing this musical score of Hollow Knight for sure. If I had to single out just a couple of my favorite tracks in the game, it would have to be City of Tears and Resting Grounds. In the end, however, you can't really go wrong with any of these tracks. Make sure to turn the volume up on this one, guys. Your ears will thank you for it. Trust me. With great music comes great sound design as well, apparently. Every enemy gurgles, grunts, and groans when you attack them. Characters will speak in outright gibberish when you converse with them. In fact, sound plays a more important role than you may think. For example, hearing the hobbling footsteps in the distance or buzzing sounds gives you a clear sign that an enemy may be lurking nearby. Also, the many grubs you find in this game, which act as collectibles to unlock rewards, will make a whimpering sound when you are near them. It all sounds truly unsettling at times, but in a good way, and never really got on my nerves. After everything is said and done, if I had to slap a number on here, I would give Hollow Knight a solid 10 Zothamites out of 10. Not much else can be said about Hollow Knight that hasn't already been heard before. This game deserves all the praise that it has garnered among fans of the genre. If for some reason you have yet to play this game and you love yourself a well-crafted world with a fascinating story, do yourself a favor and play this gem of a game. You won't regret it, I assure you. So I realize that Hollow Knight may have some flaws. I mean, no game can be perfect after all. But for me personally, it clicks all the right buttons that make a Metroidvania game great. For example, great exploration, great combat, great platforming, and what usually takes a back seat in Metroidvania games, a fantastic story. And that's easily one of the most favorite aspects of the game for me, because you can completely miss a good chunk of the story if you just breeze through the game and don't stop and explore your surroundings and talk to every individual you come across. Even the areas themselves have a mysterious air about them, and they encourage you to explore and discover what just happened there. I mean, you'll keep asking yourself questions like, what happened here to the kingdoms of Hallownest, and why is the place in ruins? Why are these crazy bugs out to kill me? But anyways, I digress. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. But anyways, if you guys played Hollow Knight yourselves, if you haven't, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the genre. But anyways, guys, as always, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Reach for the stars.